Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, thanks to Orr Cadillac here in Shreveport, Louisiana, I've got this 2020 Cadillac Escalade ESV. What is the difference between the Cadillac Escalade and the Escalade ESV? Well, it's all about size. Obviously, the original Escalade is obviously a large vehicle. The ESV is actually 20.4 inches longer. But the advantage to that is you have a lot more interior space, especially when it comes to cargo space. And I'll tell you more about that as we get back here towards the rear of the Escalade, as the cargo space can increase dramatically. Now, obviously, the Escalade is a very nice looking vehicle. It looks as powerful as it truly is. And of course, you have the very nice looking headlights and the whole front end, the nice large grille. Everything looks good and powerful up here, and that's very important when you consider what is underneath the hood. This is the 420 horsepower engine, 460 foot-pounds of torque mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And here's one of the most incredible statistics about this Escalade. It can tow up to 8,100 pounds. Now, in the event that you are looking for a more detailed 2020 Escalade video, make sure to check out the iCard at the end of the video. I'll also make sure to put it on the end screen and down in the description of the video. I have a much more in-depth, detailed video on the 2020 Escalade for you to check out. And the really only difference between the ESV and the Escalade that I did in my last video is overall length. And we'll talk about that right now. So when it comes to accessing your rear cargo area via the automatic liftgate, you have a few different options on that. There is an interior button that you can use just above the rear view mirror, and you can set that to either open the liftgate all the way or 3/4 of the way, depending on what your situation is. You may need to have it a little bit lower for a number of different reasons. You can also use a button located on the liftgate itself. You can also use the remote to open and or close the liftgate. And you can use a motion sensor right here underneath the rear bumper. Just wave your foot underneath that motion sensor as I'm showing you on the screen right now, and you can open and or close the liftgate that way as well. Quite a few different ways to do that. I like that convenience depending on what you wish to use. So when it comes to storage, to cargo space here in the rear of the Escalade, you have 15.2 cubic feet, which sounds like a reasonable amount, but that's not all you have. There are some buttons located on the right-hand side of the rear interior here of the Escalade ESV that allow you to lower not only the middle seats, but the rear seats as well, and increase your cargo space to an incredible 39.3 cubic feet. That's where the size of this ESV really comes in handy. It's almost the same thing as having a truck that can, at the same time, while it is able to haul a large amount of cargo, can also carry up to 8 people. Talk a little bit about the interior of this Escalade. It is obviously larger, being an ESV. You have the 15.2 cubic feet of cargo space in the rear when all of the seats are in the upright position, and a seating capacity for a total of 8 people, including the driver. That's pretty impressive, and obviously one of the primary reasons why somebody would want to buy an Escalade or something similar of this size. Not lacking in luxuries and amenities, and that's going to obviously change a little bit, vary from one trim level to the next, and I'll list the multiple trim levels available of the Escalade ESV on the screen for you to see right now. This particular model, of course, comes with just a lot of great features, interior and exterior. Being that it's a large vehicle, yes, it's a little bit higher up off the ground. It is going to come with running boards. In this case, they're automatic, so the steps come out when you open the doors and they will retract when you close the doors. A very nice and convenient feature if it's something you haven't had before. And when it comes to storage just for you and your passengers, obviously in the front seat you have a very large and deep console right here between the driver and passenger seats. Wireless charging capability right here in the middle. Several cup holders, USB ports, 12-volt ports depending on what you need to plug in as well. And just overall storage space that is very plentiful in the doors. You have pockets on these rear seats in the front and other places as well that I'm showing you on the screen right now. Air conditioning vents are available for the middle and rear seat passengers individually. I really like the way that's laid out. Very nice and very helpful because they don't have to rely on the air coming from the front all the way back to the rear, especially when you're in the very rear seats. When it comes to convenience in the front, you do have a little bit larger than normal sunroof compared to what I've seen in some other SUVs that don't have a panoramic sunroof. Maybe that will come in the future with the Escalade as well, but for now, I do think that suffices nicely. You do have a very modern looking dashboard here. I like the way that's laid out. Very interested to see how that's going to look in the future on a model that is refreshed when that comes for the Escalade. That could potentially be in 2021. I know the Suburban is receiving a full refresh in 2021. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Steering wheel mounted controls that not only allow you to cover as many things as you could imagine and take care of answering phone calls, adjusting the radio, the station, the volume, all of that, but you can also change the look of your dashboard as well. Okay guys, we're gonna take a quick little test drive here with the 2020 Escalade, and I have to say, obviously horsepower is not an issue. It is not hurting for power at all at 420 horsepower out of the 6.2 liter V8 that resides under the hood. Now it is a rather large vehicle, and I've driven other Escalades in the past, but you know, I can't really tell that big of a difference. But when it comes to parking something like this, depending on how tight the quarters may be, it could be a little challenging. You do have a plethora of safety items on the Escalade, just great modern technology. And again, I'll list those on the screen, that way I don't miss anything. But there are sensors and different things to help you in parking this large of an SUV. And so if it's something you're stepping up from, saying a compact or a mid-size SUV, a smaller SUV, to this, I don't think it'd be that difficult to get used to. And obviously, I'm used to driving a larger vehicle myself, so I'm somewhat used to something that's around this size, but I still don't think anybody who hasn't driven something like this, maybe isn't used to it, would have a hard time getting used to it. As you can hear, driving down the road, it is nice and quiet. And don't let the vibration or anything from the camera fool you, as the camera is a little unstable on the tripod, but this has a very comfortable ride compared to a lot of other SUVs I've driven, especially full-size SUVs. It is a little stiff, but it's not bad. And with magnetic suspension, the ride is going to adjust as you go down the road. That's going to help you to have a comfortable ride no matter what the road conditions are. Overall, I'd say the ride is nice and comfortable. Steering wheel is obviously very comfortable, something you would expect in an Escalade. And the steering itself, nice and responsive. You don't feel a lot of lag or anything like that. Really not any issues with understeer in a great manner. And one thing I will say I noticed here, I've driven other SUVs that have an either overly aggressive brake pedal or a soft brake pedal. And depending on what your situation is, what you may prefer, one or the other might work for you. In my personal opinion, the brake pedal in this Escalade is really kind of in between those two things. And so it's actually very comfortable. It's not overly aggressive, and it's also not really soft. Very easy to adjust to, in my personal opinion. So overall, everything is easy to get to. Obviously, you have the steering wheel mounted controls, everything on the dashboard, everything on the center console here, beneath the infotainment screen, super simple to get to. And so if this is something you're considering, I'd say you're going to be very happy. It's a lot of fun, a lot of nice conveniences. Like I said, I'm not covering everything in this particular video that I did in my other Escalade video. Make sure to watch that one if you want to see a lot more detail about what's available with the Escalade.